we go. Okay, for sixth graders. Anybody else would like to learn? We're going to use Photopea, and we're going to create a digital Notan design. You gotta watch. I'll try and go as slow as I can and be as clear as I can. 19 sixth graders jumping around in here. They don't always pay close attention. And then when some of them have questions or need some help, they're not necessarily waiting patiently while I'm helping one kid at a time. So I'm recording this so that you can go back and watch it, and you can stop it, start it as you need. Okay. But just as I said in class, uh, a lot of this should be fairly easy, but it's also easy to get lost if you don't pay attention. So when we open Photopea, which is photopea.com, we're going to go to File and create a new image, a new design. We're going to call this D for digital, tan, the Japanese art that deals with positive and negative space, or light and dark. And then you should go ahead and probably maybe your first initial and your last name. You know whose is whose. Watch really closely because this is very important. Here, where it has width, you want to make sure that you choose inches and not pixels, not X, but IN. And I'm going to make this 12, 12, sure that it's 12 and then the decimal. I've had some students that end up 1,000 inches instead of 12 inches. That's a problem. It's not as big a problem as having only 12 pixels instead of 12 inches, but we don't want that. For our dots per inch or resolution, I think we would like it to be 150. Do go ahead and leave a white background, and then hit. Here it comes. So we should have a nice big white square, right? If you don't see enough of it to feel like you can work on it, or it's really small, maybe click this button over here on the right-hand menus. This is Nav. It'll open a Navigator Tool for you, and you can go ahead and hit or enlarge it. That's shrinking the size of your square. That's shrinking how big it is seen in your workspace on your screen. Hit it again, and it disappears. It's out of your way. Another thing that you could do actually is use the zoom tool, and you click in, or I believe hold Alt, you get a minus sign instead of a plus sign, and zoom back out. Now, what we're going to do is to create a black square that we can cut things out of. So, use this magnifying glass in the hand, and there's some other shapes. Choose a rectangle. Now, we could go ahead and make it, but what we want to do is make sure that it's filling in black, but no outline, no stroke. And now when we come down, we want to hit Shift while we drag our cursor. And the neat thing is, it shows you about how big it is. Close to 5 as you can, about 5 inches. If it's 4.8 or 9, that's fine. If it's 5.047, that's fine. Now, use the Move tool up here, the arrow tool, and should be able to move it around. And in fact, notice the red line. If I go up, I'm probably going to find another one. Those red lines are telling you you're in the dead center, left and right, and up one or down a couple, you're in the dead center. 5-inch box is right in the middle of your white 12-inch box. Here's what you need to do, though, to be able to chunks out of this thing and create a Notan. We can't have, really what this is it's a mask. It's masking white around the black box. We want a real black box. So you have to make sure You don't want your background selected. You have to make sure that that layer is selected. Over here to the layer menu on the top, down, and you're going to go down and choose raster size. Raster size essentially is making that its own element instead of a pretend black box. It's a real black box. That's as close as I can explain. Raster size, basically, you could do that to text, and instead of it being text, then it's going to be an image in the shape of the word. Okay? So you can treat it like a word. So raster size, notice that over here in the layer, maybe I should pretend to look at it or pretend to point to it. Can I get on camera? Oh, got to use the other. Here we go. Point to up here. That's no longer all black. You just have that black square. Now, we're going to go up here, back to the left-hand menu, and we're going to choose not the rectangle select, but you press it, choices. And a lot of students couldn't find it, and nothing happens. Hold it down, press it, and you're going to some other tools. I like starting with the polygonal lasso tool because it has corners, looks a little bit sharper. I think that the lasso tool, I've seen other people that have done demonstrations like this, they start with that. But look here, I'll show you both if I have time, but let me start with this one. Okay, so now my cursor, instead of being an arrow, turns into this little cross. I choose some place on the edge of my box, and essentially, well, if I went a little bit backwards, but I should be where I start clicking, then I can hit together again, and you notice that maybe I would zoom in, see if you'll be able to see it better. You might see that it's got these little dancing ants. It basically says that it's selected. We turn our arrow tool, our move tool, and there's going to be something that we're going to need to do. Okay, first of all, once we click on it, if we have this layer selected, it should give us these little handlebars. Only going to happen if this transformation or transform controls are blue. Once it is, it's so simple. Onto this handle on the inside, I noticed that it was about 2 inches, so I drag it to the other side, just about 2 inches. And you might have to guess to see if you've gotten it right. Pulling out what was on the inside. Right? So we have positive and negative space, Notan. You may want to go to select and deselect or hit Control D so it's not selected anymore. Let's go ahead and try that other tool, lasso tool. uh, around Valentine's Day. So again, remember the shape has to be selected in layers. I'm going to move my arrow around to the edge. And I'm going to start drawing as if I'm drawing with a pencil, and I'm going to try and draw half of a heart. Oh, messed up a little bit on the bottom there. It automatically connects, which is wonderful, so I don't have to go up and connect like I did the diagonal mouse tool, or lasso tool. Now I go to the move tool, that arrow tool, stop the select tool. And again, I ought to be able to drag it to boom, a really simple Notan. Now, what might be great for you to do is do more to this, do something to the top or the bottom. I could show you this. I'll try and go really quick if I'm running out of recording time. For example, I wanted to take a bite out of my heart. I should do that. So there's just a little bit more complicated. As I was saying, you can make yours more exciting looking than mine, more interesting. But whatever you do, you get to the end. Select your layers. Maybe even go up here to layers and some of my recording tools are in the way, but merge layer so everything is flat now. Right? Go back up and just select. Now I have one big layer, and what I should be able to do, File, go to Export, choose, I like PNG, but PNG or JPEG are fine, and it should give you this little window. You can shrink it to C to make sure, 25% fits in the screen, 100% was bigger than I needed. Again, you want to check pixels earlier inches and then 12 inches. Safe. Now it should download onto your Chromebook. There, it's done. And what you're going to need to do is upload that into Artonia, which I've already got 2-3 videos on Schoology showing you how to do that. So, how you do it, right? And it looks to me like I did this demonstration in 10 minutes or less. Okay, and now I gotta stop recording. Stop! Stop, Screencastify. Done. Oh, not done. Now